All right. Okay. So I'm going to do a short little introduction about what's happening today. Today is our first official Crow's Nest episode. Oh, wow. So the Crow's Nest is basically, oh, thank you. We just chat about stuff that has to do with owning clubs and teams. And we like to invite peeps known as visiting Commodores from other clubs and teams to chat with us about stuff. So today, I have to say, Ahoy, welcome to the Crow's Nest. This is season 1, episode 1. So our first official episode, as I said. Today, the episode features Toilet, Emily, Night Valley, Felix, Felicia Locrest, and Kat, Denise Dolphinpark, are visiting Commodore. So Toilet has been in the SSO community for 11 years and has owned clubs for roughly half that time. They own Crystal Pirates, they co-own Royal Regiment Dressage, and they are also an instructor for the Dressage Academy. Kat has owned Storm Horses for 3 years, is a huge lover of the Ardennes, Mustangs, Norkers, and Gen 1 Fjords. And their club, Storm Horses, is a storm and aerobatic themed dressage club. And it's most importantly a tight-knit family that they hold close in real life. They're a barrel racer and a huge cat lover. They like tons of different kinds of music and are currently in a college course for large animal science. Last but not least is me, Felix. I'm a leader and instructor with Crystal Pirates. I also instruct with the Dressage Academy, Star Stable Dressage, and the Yarvik Dressage Center. And I also really like volunteering, so that's what I do on my weekends. I volunteer. Yes. So I'll just briefly introduce our first topic, and then we will get to yapping. So our first topic is how you find the right people to join your club.
Woo.
Whoever would like to pop in first and talk about it, go ahead.
You know what? I will. I'll give it a shot. So,
Mhm.
for me, obviously, we, go through the applications and we, sort through them as much as we can and find the right people who we might, vibe with the best. Like, kind of like finding your own friends for your club. Honestly, that's really what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That seemed like generally excited about the club, want to be there, want to, really like, I don't know, maybe have big goals like you meet on the comp team or whatever. That's always nice. And then also maybe like for us, we get like batches of like maybe 2 to 5 people, and it really for Stormhorses at least, it really depends on who like stays and ends up like staying there and who fits best either in their eyes or our eyes or both ways. I'd say probably like it depends mainly on their attitude, demeanor, like how they act and whatever, and like how determined they are to stay in the club, learn our dictionary, like actually like want to be there and participate.
Oh.
That was a lot of words in one.
No, I like that. I like what you said at the beginning. Just going back to that, you were like find new friends basically. Like whenever people are joining your club, this is like so interesting. It's like very niche to Star Stable. We're like little organizations, but we also like we're all friends, which makes it like it's a weird balance between finding people who want to like commit to the same goals as you, but also you want to be friends with them. And so I found that interesting that you pointed that out.
Yeah.
It's kind of like doing like a very long-term group project. So you want to find people who like you like and you want to spend time with, and that you also can like work together with. Yeah. The longest group project of your life.
Yeah, literally. Once you're in, you
always
can't
trial and error.
Oh yeah, big trial and error. I agree. Okay, I'm gonna pull one of my notes that I wanted to talk about. So, we're talking about how do you find the right people to join your club? The term right people can be a little subjective depending on what kind of club you own. But whenever I was sitting down to think about this question, the first thing I thought of was expanding your application pool, which is basically like the niche saying like the more options you have, the more picky you can be, kind of thing. And we talked about this in our last Crow's Nest, but like advertising on different servers in different locations at different times, just like broadening your interests so that you can have more people to pick from, if that makes sense.
Yep.
I think that's
like giving people more opportunities to like find out about you and giving you the chance to advertise more broadly, I guess.
Yeah. Yes. Basically putting your name out there.
Right.
More than you think.
Yeah, so like you want to. Yeah, I had something about that too. So like, how can you increase the chances of people finding like out about your club, and then also knowing like where your application form or knowing when applications are open. So like, do you have a link to your card on your Instagram? Do you have dedicated channels in your open server, and then a ping roll for application updates? So like any way that you can kind of have that information kind of everywhere where your club is represented on social media just makes it easier for people to find out how your application process works, when applications are open, and then kind of reduces confusion around the whole process. And because the less friction there is, the more people are likely to apply. If it's harder for them to do so, they're going to be like, "Oh my god, this takes so long." But if it's easier for them to get through the whole series of things like your application form, and then they're more likely to do so.
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, it's like you always want to make sure it's like very obvious, like what you how do I put this? Like what you do, like what you want, and like be very like clear and very have it like readily available for everyone, like as much as you can, because it sometimes gets confusing. You look into a club as an owner or not, and you're like, okay, what do they wear? Where are they? Server wise, like sometimes it's difficult, but you want to make sure that it's like put out there, right smack in front of you, so you can understand, what they want, like what they are, what they're about, whatever. Maybe consider applying. Who knows?
Okay, this might be a little interesting, but I feel like there's like a CP I feel like did this. We have a website, and we put everything on the website, but we didn't have a lot of the stuff in the open server. And I feel like we put stuff in the open server like recently, and I feel like it definitely has helped a lot, like answering questions. And instead of being like, just go to the website, we could just be like, okay, go to this channel. And, like people have been actually like reading it. Like I see the reactions going up every so often whenever I like check in. So I definitely find it helpful, like putting a lot of information out there, making sure it's like cohesive, but then like getting people's hands on it. And even just like on Instagram stories, taking the extra time to go get a link for somebody can also help, because then they don't have to go search for it.
Right.
Yeah, if you link like either your Google form for your application or like your Discord open server, then they don't have to like go like into your bio to find it. Like it's one less step they have to take.
Yeah. There's probably like psychology behind that, TBH. I just don't know it, but I feel like there is. There's some
It's
sort of
funny.
psychology behind it.
It's funny because Star Wars has a website, but honestly, I've not updated in such a long time because I've really like been unmotivated to, because I don't even remember what we use, but whatever website domain we use, it's like really difficult to work with. It's kind of hard to like keep the information like out there. So honestly, for us, it's just easier like Instagram or Discord. We have it all there. Even on our applications, some information about application process, whatever they have to go through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it definitely does just come down to
Yeah,
like self preference.
I will say too, like your application form and like your dedicated channel in your open server, like once people are funneled into those, that's like also your first opportunity where you can screen applicants. So if you're trying to find the right people, how you formulate those two areas can really kind of like funnel people through, like the people who will actually go through and apply. So you want to make sure to include like what's important for you to know as a club owner. So like your requirements for joining, any frequently asked questions about applying, and then a link to the form itself. And then in the form, you want to think about, well, what are the questions that can help me get to know them well before, if you do voice interviews, or if they get into your club as a trial. So some common things that you see on application forms that allow you to gauge that is like, what was their past experience in clubs or teams? If you're a dressage club or team, dressage knowledge and experience. A good question too is like, how would your friends describe you? Ask them and then copy paste their answer into the form. And then also an important thing is you want to like be upfront, like, okay, our schedule is like this. Do you have any commitments that would maybe interfere with attending our events practices? So you want to like figure that out like upfront, so that you don't like accept somebody and then during the trial period they're like, oh yeah, I have like a wrestling practice, or I work 4 nights out of the week, so they would miss too much. So yeah, you want to kind of know that upfront.
And going back to what you said about voice interviews, we have them in Storm Horses, but they're optional, so it's like it doesn't affect if they get in or not. But it's just better for like us and also the trial or applicant. so they can get to know so we can get to know each other better, and make them feel a little bit more comfortable before they actually go on full force ahead to practice, which is probably a little bit more chaotic sometimes.
That's really cool that you do that optionally. I feel like that's kind of like catering towards like our introverts, but also the extroverts. If they choose not to interview, do you still like send them an invite to the server?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't really change much. It's just like an added bonus, only if they're comfortable doing it, and if they want to, they don't have to. But it's nice when they do, because then we can get to know them better and know a little bit more about them than we would from just the application.
That's really cool. I definitely think that there's with like voice interviews, like in particular, it's kind of like I don't know if you guys have seen like tone tags, like stuff that people write can definitely be like misconstrued a little bit. So I think
Right.
like voice interviews could be like interesting for that, especially like getting to know people. And I also think for interviews it's important like if you ask a question on the application, like don't be scared to re-ask it like in a voice interview because I feel like you can definitely gauge a lot from a voice interview compared to just an application.
Or you could get more information out of it and like ask them like more about, I don't know, like say they have horses, like what do you do with your horses? Like how are your horses right now or whatever. Just like try to like branch out more into their interests and also add on your own tad bits.
Yeah.
Yeah. What we usually say during our voice interviews is we say, so this is really chill. Don't be stressed. It'll take like 10 minutes. And then it's like, we say it's like a vibe check for you. You get to vibe check us. And then we also get to know you better. So it's not just us kind of like evaluating them as a potential new member. They also get to like see, okay, I'm talking to uh, Toilet or Felix or whoever's conducting the interview, and they sound cool. Or I don't know about these guys. They yap a little too much. Maybe not.
Too much yapping.
Always
Yeah.
too much.
I think in interviews sometimes we also have the pirates who show up and they just kind of like they're kind of like a little background audience like chilling, but then they like
Oh, that's
also
so cool.
answer questions that I think makes
Mm-hmm.
it really enjoyable. It's like they're kind of like forming a bond with the new applicants and like kind of sensing them out as well. So it's not just like the HRs.
Yeah, so they can ask questions of the pirates. So like one of the questions that we have is like, for example, like what would you like to see in the SSO community? Or like what's your favorite part about SSO dressage? Or like how did you start learning dressage in SSO? So they'll like tell us about like, oh, my first club was chat commanded or whatever. And then the pirates will be in the chat and they'll be like, oh my God, I remember my first chat commanded club too. And then they'll have like a little side conversation in there. So yeah, it's like everybody gets to like participate. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Star Wars used to be chat commanded. Then we changed to chat commanded but optional Discord, where you could quite literally hang out in call during practice instead of typing all in chat, and then we finally went to full.
It's really cool. Wait, that's so cool. Y'all
That's
like went
great
through
for
it. You shift.
yeah, the transition, the evolution.
Yeah. What's
That's
the
really
like the
awesome.
Pokemon thing where it's like, oh, what's the thing where they like evolve? There's like a saying that
Yeah,
goes
yeah,
with
yeah,
it. It's like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. What? That's really cool. I remember my chat commanded days.
Honestly, it was
Oh,
really fun. Like the intertwining, like, chat commanded and also like voice, like you talk to each other during it. I think that's what curated like really like how we are now, because it's just very like a really bad yapper, like concerningly bad yapper, because all I do is talk. So it helped me a lot to, doesn't actually, no, it doesn't really help me a lot, because that means I still have to command myself to like, you know, balance my wanting to talk and commanding. So kind of also helps make the environment, nicer, and I guess because we're more used to it. We
Mm.
were more used to it into that English before before
Yeah.
we transitioned into full Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Um, I briefly mentioned like the idea of a trial period earlier. So I don't know if we want to talk about that a bit, but for my experience, like having a trial period uh, helps you get to know potential new members better, and it also like gives them also time to get to know your club better. So it's not like they're a full member right away. They're in a trial for like I think people usually do like 1 to up to 4 weeks. is the amount of time I've generally seen. And then it's like a longer vibe check from both parties. And yeah, so then the things you kind of want to look at during that trial period is like, do they meet your attendance requirements? Do they mesh well and interact well with your current members? If there are some little problems in their behavior, like maybe they're making some jokes that are a little too like pointed and sharp, you can talk to them and be like, hey, like, let's try to be a little nicer. We can make jokes, but we want to laugh with people, not at people. And say you like talk to them about that. And then you see, okay, they've really improved. They're making an effort. But then if they don't try to improve, you're like, oh, they don't take feedback well. Well, maybe not. So yeah, trial periods, I really like. So I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that.
For me, I think they are really they're really important, like you said, because not just dressage clubs. Put aside dressage clubs. Put aside our clubs for 1 second.
Yeah,
I think they would help a lot for like other like clubs, like hangout clubs, racing clubs. Clubs that don't focus on just dressage, because I think that's one of the bigger things for the clubs. It helps them see if they fit, like if they don't make drama or whatever. So like the very basic principles that we kind of overlook a bit more for like their dressage as well. So I think that's like it really helps. I mean, obviously, it's also for the good of the trials. They want to make sure they're happy as well.
I definitely agree with all that you guys have said. I found that like with the trial period, definitely beneficial. In Crystal Pirates, we do 2 weeks, but I've also seen like just through like experience, if there's like a problem character, kind of like Felix, how you mentioned, like if somebody's making bad jokes or they're not following the rules, like we'll send like communication is very important, and if we send like an initial letter that's like, hey, this is the behavior we're seeing, we need you to fix it, exhibit A, exhibit B, here's what we think you can do. Sometimes people will like, we're trying to fix the problem, but sometimes people will see that and they're just like, okay, yeah, no, I give up, and they just leave. So partly the trial period can like weed out the people who are not actually interested. And I just think it's beneficial overall.
I think too, the trial period is, I'm sure every club and team owner has had this experience at some point, if you own for long enough, is maybe you have somebody apply who has been involved in drama in the past. And if it was a long enough time ago, like maybe like more than a year ago, you go, okay, maybe they've grown, they've learned from that experience, and you want to give them a chance, right? So then that trial period is really the testing ground. You're going to more carefully look at how they're acting, what they're saying. And then if you see any little inkling of the previous drama, you're like, I'm so sorry, but no. But I have seen some people who were involved in drama, but they really changed, they grew, they learned, and then they become a great member. So I don't know, your mileage may vary, but the trial period can be good for that as well.
Yeah.
I think that also like
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Thanks. I think it's like helps like if owners are like always like talking to each other. So I know owners collision, that's awesome server, love it to death, because you always want to make sure you're to communicate with the other owners and ask like, hey, is this person possibly problematic? Because owners help owners, quite literally. That's what this is all about, really. And it'll help them, find out, like who they might want to be wary about or not, and yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like with this kind of stuff, you also build up like kind of like a spidey sense, like an owner sense. Like as you own longer and like manage, you're able to like pick out like the smallest red flags. Like if people like aren't attending or they're not communicating, typically that's like, in my opinion, like the first sign that they're about to like drop off of Discord or want to like go on break or leave. So I feel like you build up like I said, like an owner sense when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Always, yeah.
It's like, oh, I've been at this rodeo before. This is not my first circus.
Yeah.
Literally.
Or like a situation will happen and then like the next year the same situation will pop up, but it's with a different person. You're like, wait a second.
Yeah, you start to recognize the patterns.
Yeah.
Always
fun. And then I don't know about you guys, but I feel like especially when you first start owning, you kind of there's like this desire to have like a lot of members really fast. Like you want a big group. And I think what's important to remember, but it's hard to do, is you want to think about quality over quantity. So it may be really tempting to keep some members who don't quite fit in because you're like, oh, if they leave, then my member count goes down. But in the long run, yeah, this will hurt your club more than the perceived prestige of having a higher member count. Like if you have people, for example, who are not active, but you still let them stay, but then you have other members who are active and they're like, well, why do these people get to stay? They're not meeting the attendance requirements. So yeah, you do have to make those like hard decisions about letting some people go. But in the long run, it's like better for the overall health of the club, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like with Crystal Pirates, we could definitely relate to that. Like when we first began, obviously I wasn't like quality over quantity, but I was like, oh my gosh, I was younger, so I was like, we're a friend group, let's just let everybody in. So I was inviting like anybody and everybody showed interest. But long story short, we had like 10 members. Only 2 of them were really active, the rest were inactive. So we were a club, we were competing, but it was rough. And then we finally got one active member and like everything changed. And I was like, wow, I have this one person who like really loves the club, is really showing up. And all these other people have just been offline, not engaging, not doing anything. I really need to like change my mindset when it comes to this. So I feel like definitely quality
That's
over
what owners get.
quantity.
Yeah, that's what get like newer owners get stuck on. I know I was a newer owner. I literally was rejecting multiple opportunities to own Storm Horses before I ended up finally, owning it. And I think it's like you gotta like newer owners gotta make sure that they like kind of try their best to do it right. Like find what they really like. I don't know, like prioritize and like really like want for their club, like what they want to make, whatever. So they just gotta be careful.
Yeah, I feel like having like a clear vision is important. So like,
Yes.
That's the
like
word.
what are your like Toilet likes to do like a yearly goal thing. So like at the start of the year, it's like, okay, these are our like broad goals for the year. And then like quarterly, so like every 3 months we check in and we go, okay, how did this go? How can we work towards achieving this? Do we not have enough time for this anymore? So like to kind of have like a schedule, I guess, for yourself. I mean, a full year ahead is a lot to plan out. So maybe when you're just starting, you want to do like, okay, for the next 3 months or the next 6 months. But that can also help you with like deciding like which members are the right fit. Like, do they fit in with like your overall goals from the club? Yes or no? That kind of thing. Do we have anything else we want to add about this first topic?
Do we?
I'm good. If the chat has any questions about finding the right pookies,
let them rip if you will.
Oh, Jenny with the baguette. Jenny said baguette.
Yeah, I just saw the baguette comment. Baguette. La baguette à la boulangerie. The chat is satisfied. Okay.
Serving. Good.
Oh.
Nice. All right, Charlotte, do you want to read the second topic?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I will change the slide.
Oh, yeah. Let me know whenever you're done.
Yep.
Okay. So the second topic that we have prepared to yap about is how do you build up your club? Advertising, other ways to get your name out there, behind the scene work like OS, roles, ranks, handbooks, attendance systems, etc. Okay. I'll go first. I love this question, TBH. So, how to build up your club? I feel like one of the most important things is make sure you're running smoothly behind the scenes. So in my notes, whenever I was prepping for this, I talked about like clubs and teams, obviously they take a lot of work. So if you can try to have things set up behind the scenes, so it's kind of like you're being proactive, you're doing all the work now, so then later everything will run smoothly. So like having Google Forms, Google Sheets, Google Docs, just have it like all set up before opening yourselves up to the public. It can help a lot of things like run smoothly. And I do think it's important to know that you can always change systems. So construction like is okay, like you don't have to have everything perfect, but having some things set in stone before you open up can definitely help. That was my take on it. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
I would say I would agree.
Oh yeah.
Because, like, here's the thing, like, you don't want to go on, like, kind of, like, blind and just, like, open an application and be like, hey, new club, we're just gonna open applications, What could be the worst that could happen? A lot. Like, you want to, like, there's literally, like, things such as, like, like, sent messages, like, that you want to send to, like, acceptances, denials of, new applications, like, because you're not going to want to type out the same thing over and over again, and you also don't want to have to, like, type out specifically why they were accepted or denied, so you're going to want to, like, make a very generalized version or whatever, or just, like, have everything set out, like, what you're doing with your dictionary, like, what you might want to plan to try to do in the future.
Yeah, and I think too, like I think you guys kind of touched on this, but like running a club can get tedious at times. Like it's a lot of work. It's like a part-time job basically. You're putting in 15 to 20 hours a week. Either you're hosting stuff, you're doing behind the scenes things. So yeah, so if you can think about systems and that can make all the organizational work easier and allow for smoother onboarding for new staff in the future, it's just going to like reduce the amount of work you have on your plate by a lot. So you might have additional work that you need to do at first. So it's like setting up the docs or the Google Sheets or all these things. But once you have that initial like legwork done, you can kind of go, okay, I have this organized way of doing things. I can easily explain it to new staff or current staff, and then it just kind of chugs along smoothly, more or less.
I also want to add on, like, for, like, anyone out there, you don't have to have it all perfect or sorted out. Like, literally, right now, us hiring some stormhorses are literally working on, like, trying to, like, set out, like, what our goals are for, like, next year, like, what we're going to try to do. And then also, like, our system of, like, how we're going to work our strikes and everything like that. Hi, Noah. Cat just entered. Guys, we got a cat.
Kitty cat. Yeah, I'll say Crystal Pirates has a lot of stuff. Like we have like 3 Google Docs at least. Google Forms we have probably like 20. Like we have a lot of stuff set up.
24?
We have a lot. Like if we opened it right now, I could count. There's a lot of them.
So for what?
For a bunch, but we have a lot of stuff planned out, and it's been really nice whenever we're like trying to work on stuff, because then we could be like, oh, just go grab the form, just go grab this message that's pinned in this chat. So yeah, we definitely have a lot of stuff set up behind the scenes, which has been nice, especially whenever onboarding new staff. We're finally in the process where we can like actually do that, and it's been nice. We have like a handbook, so we can like just go read here. This is where everything is. Here's your forms. It's like it's all pre-written, and it's kind of nice just being like, here's the material, take it and run with it, kind of thing.
Should I say that's a very long handbook? I've seen it. It's a very printed out. It's gonna be at least 50 pages, 100 pages. Could grow.
Just smack it, put it in the middle of your Christmas tree, the Crystal Pirates handbook.
Oh god.
Yeah, our Holy Bible. It's crazy, but it's nice.
I will say too that what's helpful for like maintaining like the smooth running of the club is also having like a dedicated staff server. So Crystal Pirates is called the quarter deck, and it's basically all the staff is in there. So we have the toilets there and the leaders, and then we have our instructors, and then we have our people who help with events, the weekly agenda, the social media, our editors who are not part of the club, but they're in there. They have their own little category. So that helps you kind of stay organized because we're all in there talking to each other. We have like dedicated channels for things. And like Kat mentioned earlier, you can kind of like have little formats that you reuse. So for example, if you're announcing an event, you have like a little format with all your little emojis and special fonts and stuff. So you don't have to like retype it all out. It's already there. You just copy paste it and you just adjust the information. So that's really helpful.
Consistency is key.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also love the staff server. This is a funny thing that we just started unironically, but all the like Crystal Pirates staff people are called Mark, and it's like Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, Mark 4, Mark 5. And like even though it's a staff server and we're supposed to be serious, we still like make jokes. And it's like building up like within the club, we start these funny jokes. Like this one started in the staff server coincidentally, but it's like building up relationships even while we're not in call or doing dressage, and that like definitely portrays over like into the actual club.
Mm-hmm. feel like they're
I've noticed
always
that at least.
yeah, because I feel like they're always like your relationships like with everyone's always gonna grow, especially if they're like staff or like do extra things behind the scenes. Like I don't know, maybe like a drill team. We shut ours down because we don't have enough time to do that or manage that. And then honestly, literally for us, we probably should have a server, but we don't. So we have one little chat, and before it was just me and Izzy's DMs. We have one little chat, and we have a running. I made a running joke because we had our leader, Casey, lead the line. So I went and I said, the leader is leading the line in parentheses, aka Casey, and that is our group chat name for the high
Oh my
ranks tournament.
gosh. I love that.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
that's so good.
So never always serious, and honestly, you go through a lot with your high ranks, so you better make sure you be having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's so true because like there are some moments where you have to be serious and be like, okay, I'm laying down the law now, like this is what we're doing. But you do want things fun because essentially running a club is you're volunteering your time because you're passionate. So if you don't keep things fun, people aren't going to want to keep doing it. So yeah, there's that balance of like, okay, we need to be serious and plan out this stuff and make these decisions, but also how can we keep things fun and interesting so that you guys don't go, oh my god, I'm tired of this. Goodbye.
I'm tired of
Heading
this
out the door.
grandpa. It's too damn
Yeah.
bad. You
Bye,
keep making
Felicia.
that
Yeah.
club. Oh my gosh. That's so good. Oh my gosh. Since we're on the topic of staff, this is one of the notes that I wanted to talk about. We've already kind of like hit it a little bit, but like the quarter deck is obviously the staff server. But like raising staff, if you have the capabilities to do that, like training up new people creates more ideas, which can help club team, whatever you're running, like be better. So if you do have like the capacity and like the abilities to train up people who are interested, I would highly recommend doing that because that helps grow your club like internally, and then that will grow, and then externally people will see, oh, this club is doing great. They have internal leaders. I want to join them. So focusing on internal can lead externally people to start getting interested in you.
You want to set good
And like
ground.
Oh, go ahead, Kat.
You want to make sure that you set like a good like groundwork like down and flat because
Right.
like obviously you might look out with like a leader where they already like have leading experience from their real life situations and stuff. But then you might have someone who does not have much experience, but they're very much willing to do it and have at least good insight, like intentions, whatever.
Yeah, and I think too, like, I think when people think about staff for a club, they're like, oh, dressage instructors or leaders or moderators, but it's like there's lots of little small things that your members can help with. So, like for example, Otto in Crystal Pirates helps with our weekly agenda. That's like a more small but very important task, and it does take a significant amount of time every week to kind of like write the agenda out neatly, put cute little emojis and all that stuff, and then send it. And Auto like pings people and is like, okay, hey, are you gonna host practices this week, or who's hosting events this week? So they're keeping track of all those little bits and pieces that Toilet used to do, and that saves Toilet from doing that job, which frees up her time to do other things. And then also, even with those small things that members can help with, it gives them like a feeling of like contributing to the club more because they're helping with like that more kind of like organizational stuff, and it helps them feel like pride in the club and like, hey, I'm contributing, yay. So yeah, so you can, there just could be those little things that they can help out with. For example, if you have some people who are good at Canva, they can help you make things in Canva for like your Instagram stories. If you have some people who are good at editing, they can make like edits for TikTok or Instagram reels. So yeah, it doesn't have to be just like the more like big staff roles. It can be lots of little small things here and there that can help with.
I think members helping is a really like great idea though, because it's like you should take advantage of like those who are better in like other skills than you are, but you're not really.
Yeah.
So it gives them something that they want to work towards, they want to do, so they can kind of like I don't know prove themselves or just like be there for your club, like actually show that they care, do maybe more than the regular member might.
And also, like, I feel like I've learned so much from like our staff team, like little things that I had no idea about that they just know or they learned, and then we kind of all share the knowledge together. All We are sharing all our single brain cells together to make one, brain, a crystal pirate's brain that works together.
I love it. Oh my gosh. I definitely agree with that. Especially, Kat, you said like let people who are like better in other skills kind of take the lead on that kind of stuff. Like
Mhm.
Felix, I'm gonna yap about you for a second. Felix came along and Felix has like experience with like whatever I used to be the type of person where if I had to write a removal letter, I was literally like, I cannot do this. I need to just stop. Like, I'll just let them stay in the club until they want to leave. And like,
I feel
Felix, you are
that.
so good at like writing stuff and making it like so personable and like friendly. And I will be honest, I suck at that. And I'm trying to get better. But like, Felix, whenever you came in, you started helping like write those letters, and I've learned so much from that. I hope you know that.
Yeah.
And
And I'll
great. And
just say, like, Kat talked about real life experience. And for me, it's because I worked as a restaurant manager for 8 years and I had to fire people.
Oh, there it is.
So that's why I'm good at that, because I had to do it, speak to somebody face to face and say, you're being fired for this reason, and do it in a way that was diplomatic and nice, but still firm. So that's the reason I have that skill. So yeah.
Yeah, I did not have that experience. So
Me neither. That is why I have two other high ranks that have a lot more experience than I do.
Yeah,
it's good.
and like everybody like has their own strengths, and you all like complement each other. It's like a beautiful mosaic of like stained glass, and we're all like making a beautiful picture together. Sorry, they never.
Where's Pablo? Where's Pablo? Pablo's great at analogies. Get Pablo in here.
Yeah. Where's Pablo?
Oh, that's so good.
We want to talk analogies?
Oh, dun.
Do you have a good one?
Yeah, so I frequently used to make a lot of analogies for like explaining moves because I had two members at the time. One of them is actually still here with us who would always really struggle with like,
Yeah.
learning moves or just like needing a little bit more than your average person. So I make analogies like, let's see, so we have a move named Tremble. Trouble. Can I not keep making that mistake? Trouble. And the way I try to think about it is it's pretty easy. It's pretty sure it's a combo bloom. So I always make them think of the song from Taylor Swift, of course. Naturally.
Oh my gosh. I knew you were in trouble when you walked in that one.
Yes.
You just unlocked the Swiftie in me.
So you're like, oh, it's the Taylor Swift move, remember?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
Yeah, the one I always do is for retreat curl and resist. Is I say retreat curl is, oh my goodness, the British are coming. You're going towards them, and then you run away. But then resist, the British are coming. You do your retreat curl over, and then you curl over again. You're resisting the British. You're going towards them. You're going to resist. That's how I analogize that move. I mean, it's helpful for some people. Other people are like, Felix, what the heck? But yeah, analogies, I like them. I'm doing thumbs up at my screen right now.
Lovely. Thumbs up.
That's so good.
We've yapped a bit about like behind the scenes, kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Like structures and planning and stuff. Do we want to talk a bit about like how do you get your name out there in terms of like advertising or like other things? Like how can you get people to know about you as a way of like building up, like I would say, like your reputation or your reach with your audience, that sort of thing.
Sure thing. Okay, I don't know why I did that. I personally have like experienced like it's gotten a lot harder over the past few years to advertise in global chat. Like literally almost nearly impossible. Like I gave up last year. I started to give up advertising in global chat. There you go. So instead I pretty much, me and my co-owner have gone into like more or less the Discord side or the Instagram side, so like the social media side of it, and trying to get people's interest by like reading what people say for looking at club and like club cliche or dressage teaching. Those two servers have helped a lot, and honestly, literally has helped me get either moderators, editors, or possible club members, especially club cliche for club members. So honestly, just like backing those kind of servers that help like smaller clubs grow or try to help them grow is a really big thing to like want to take advantage of and use and be very grateful
Right.
for.
Like community servers that like have
Yep.
lots of resources. Yeah, like you said, Club Cliche, Small Club Center, SSO Embassy is another one. And then I think another one is that if you're a dressage club, or maybe you do drill or like RRP, if you have people in your club who are passionate about instructing or hosting those things, if they can also be instructors or hosts in those community servers, that's a way for people to get to know about you. So if they attend a lesson in like a dressage server hosted by one of your instructors or event hosts, then they go, oh, I went to this thing hosted by Kat. She seems really cool. I'm going to check Stormhorse's Instagram and see when their applications are next open, because I really enjoyed Kat's style of hosting or teaching. I mean, it's more work for them, but that's another opportunity for people to kind of get to know you.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of like work behind the scenes, but it pays off. And you try to make it pay off as best as you can.
For sure.
I don't want to pray
Yeah.
the Tana. I said that.
Yeah, that's Anna's
Oh
nickname.
my gosh.
Yeah. The payoff is worth it.
But I say, yeah, branching out to like trying to host social events and for SSO, like even just normal open server events, like maybe open practice or events overall, that definitely helps get people interested if you first grow up the Discord, because I've had a lot of open events that were smaller than I was hoping or expected, so gotta make sure you advertise it right.
And I think what's important to remember too, when you first start out, your open events are going to be really small. Like it'll probably just be you and maybe one other person. I think what's important is don't cancel it. Just do the whole thing, even though if only one person is there. Because maybe that one person who attends that open event is what convinces them to apply. And just over time, you'll have more people attending, but it takes a while to build up. It's not going to be your first ever open event. There's going to be 20 people there.
Unless
It's
you're
not
lucky.
likely. I'll say that. Oh, yeah, maybe you get lucky and like
Unless you're
like,
lucky, maybe a YouTuber might help. Not for me. I'm not a big YouTuber, but I also don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I agree with all y'all have said. Especially like going back to like the open server kind of thing. Like a well-crafted Discord open server, it can be like an awesome way to build up your club from the outside. Like OSs allow you to create like a mini community, kind of like you said, Felix, like people showing up to your event. Kat, you also mentioned that. Making a mini community besides your group, like your closed server, for example, it like allows people to see, oh, these people are really cool. I'm interested in them. And then they'll read around more and then maybe they'll become interested and want to join. So it's like focusing also a little bit on external stuff, but then also trying to make sure that internal stuff, but also making sure that externally you can try to form like a mini community around your own.
I would say even if your community is just mainly like club owner friends that you've kind of acquired, like you two are Danae or anyone else, that also like helps because then you have people to back and support you and try to help put yourself out there a little bit more than you originally would have.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Also, that just reminded me, like, not just like your open server, but like trying to find like a support group, like people, like other club owners that you can talk to whenever you're going through something, other team owners, maybe like a hangout club. Maybe you want to talk to them about experiences that they've had. Like putting yourself out there, not just as like, hey, I own a club, come join, but like, I just want to meet you. I want to be friends with you. If I'm having trouble, can I talk to you? Just stuff like that.
I remember
like building community. Yeah, go ahead.
I remember you said that on the last podcast episode, because then after that, I quite literally try to reach out to all my owner friends, which are a few. I'm like, hey, how you doing? How's your club?
I love
That's
it.
awesome.
And try to continue to do that weekly, monthly, or whatever.
Yeah. And I feel like too, like we talked a little bit about open events, but if you can attend other clubs and teams open events, then they're likely to come to yours as well to like reciprocate. That helps to build like bonds of like friendship. But then like also like club collabs too. because that generates content for your social medias, and you guys can like cross promote each other. So maybe some people find out about it to you that way. Yeah.
Our collab was really fun. So if you want to do a collab, either of us, you know who to hit up.
I love it. I love it.
I will say, kind of adding on to like creating or generating content for social media. If we're thinking about Instagram's algorithm is like whack, but like I've done some research on this because I'm a nerd, but like you want to think about consistently posting. So if you think I'm going to upload once per week, if you're consistent, you upload the same day every week at the same time. Instagram goes, oh, this person is consistent. They're a consistent content creator. They're more likely to push your stuff out on the algorithm. You also want to look at like what hashtags do people use that are relevant. And then sometimes too, you want to think about batch creating content. So ahead of time, like maybe like the 2 weeks before the start of the month, you batch think about, okay, my 4 posts for this upcoming month is this, and this. You get your club members together to take photos, and then you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the month. You've already done that work. You just have to post it, or you use like a scheduler like Hootsuite that will post for you. So yeah, Instagram, its algorithm, you kind of have to work around that. Engagement is also really important. So encourage like your club members and your friends to comment on your Instagram posts and stories. This tells the algorithm, hey, people are interested in this content. Let's push it out to more people. So like, even if they just like comment like, wow, I love this post, or, you know, that's great. So just remind them like, hey, we posted, please come and like the post and leave a comment, share it to your story, whatever.
And don't be a bot when you're doing the comments. Just be honest. Just be nice. Just put yourself out there and talk, and just be a normal human being, like you're talking to them in DMs, except smaller.
Yeah. And then like support other clubs and teams by commenting on their posts and sharing their content to your stories, because they will often reciprocate and do the same for you. So like what I like to do is when I self promo in all the servers, I will just check their announcement channel and see if they've posted recently. And then I have a little tab. I have like my own Discord server where I like dump all my custom emojis and stuff, but I also like track that, and I'll put like all the links to people's Instagram posts. And then every day I will try to share 3 of them to the Crystal Pirates Instagram, being like, hey, today, like for example, Storm Horses and Bronze Butterflies and Phoenix Dressage all posted. Here are their posts in our story. Go take a look. So yeah,
that is
you can support
a collection of clubs there.
Yeah.
Red Champions, current club, Bronze Butterflies, Storm Horses, and Phoenix.
Yeah.
That is one.
Those are like some of the 3 recent ones that I thought of that I've seen in their self promo that they posted recently. So it's in the queue that I'm going to share soon to Crystal Pirates. So that's why at the top of my head.
Yes.
Yeah.
Going back to Instagram, I feel like whenever you're leaving comments, I don't know, this is just me theorizing. I feel like Instagram likes when it's personable and it's not just like, I love this post. You read the caption, you're like, oh, I love when you said this. Happy 5-year anniversary, like being specific and not just like spamming emojis.
Right. Or like if they talk about, oh, we just shared our training trials routine. And then you can go, oh my God, I'm so excited to watch it. Like, congrats on finishing the routine, like stuff like that. Or like, our applications are open. Good luck to all the applicants, like stuff like that. Yeah, like it applies specifically to the caption. Or you're talking about the post, like, wow, the editing is so pretty. I love like the purple or the lightning or whatever element they used. Yeah, that's an important point.
And that's why it's also important to write a caption, like an actual like, caption with words in it, not just like your basic format for it, because I think it really helps. Like, even though not many people might see it like over, I don't know, your Discord announcements, it's still nice to like put out on Discord like how the club is doing, like weekly or bi-weekly or whatever.
Right. And if you have like a dedicated like at social media ping for people who are interested in seeing that, and then like I would put it in your announcements channel or your social media channel or whatever, but then also mention it in like the global chat or the general chat, like, hey, we just posted, this is what the post is about. If you'd like to go check it out and leave us a comment or whatever. All that good jazz.
All that good jazz.
Yeah.
There is actually one thing I want to dip into a little bit when it
Mhm.
comes to building your club. Attendance.
Mm.
Mhm.
My favorite, if you know me, which might not because you guys are in my club, obviously, but I'm a really big pain in the keister about attendance. Not in the way you might think,
Mhm.
but attendance, like making sure your members are kept on like good attendance is really important because first off, hirings need to stay active and stay like proactive as well in the club and engaging themselves, whatever, because they set a role model. And then your current members also set that role model. So they have to make sure that they're active or reasonably active. And then this sets a good example for the trials. So you want to make sure you have, first off, a warning system, strike system, whatever system you have to keep people active. So that could be attendance points that turn into like an award point to, I don't know, put on a stupid hat for practice or an event, whatever. Pick an event. So I find that that's really important, especially for like dressage clubs, because you want to have a good attendance system, because you want to make it easier on yourselves and then also on the members, so everyone understands it and it's there and it's set and don't screw it.
Mhm. Yeah, having a clear attendance, like requirements, policy, system, however you want to label it, is important so that it's easy for you to input everything and your staff members that help you, but also your club members understand as well what counts as an attendance point. What is, if you use a strike system, what is a strike? All that kind of thing. Yeah.
Mhm. I was like, we also have it available to our members so they can check it at any point and see how they're doing attendance wise. So it's not just
See?
HR's. You didn't meet the attendance requirement. Ooh, ooh, ooh. People can actually check and see where they're at in their standing. So I've seen that be beneficial.
But then if you're a smaller club, you have to also factor in if you had to cancel a practice or not, like if there only one or two people showed up
Mm.
or no one showed up minus yourself. Then you have to take that into account and be like, okay, so this was a less active month like it was in November for us.
Right.
And then take that into account. So, our attendance
Mhm.
points are readily available to see. I don't always update them. I'm sometimes in bed and sometimes I forget for a few weeks. But then, eventually I get to it before the end of the month and, also have a Google sheet that I put it in.
Right.
Mhm.
So it was there.
I don't know, Kat, if you plan on having people help you with attendance in the future, but what I find helpful is in the Crystal Pirate staff server, we have a channel that says attendance updates. So to remind myself, if I'm like, did I put attendance in for this thing or not? And I don't remember, I will always put in that channel, attendance updated on this date for this practice or this event. And then I can go check and be like, I did add attendance. Good job, Felix. Or no, you didn't. You're a bookie. Go do it now.
I
So
love that you mentioned
I
that.
find that helpful personally.
I love that you mentioned that because literally I have it in our attendance. Yeah, in our more high ranking attendance where it's like attendance
Mhm.
updated or attendance points updated
Yeah,
to this date. So I literally have that there, even
yeah,
though it's like it's a little inconvenient, but it's there, so I know that the points are there.
yeah,
And I think
yeah.
I just realized I forgot to put attendance for the last few practices. That's really great.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
because like it's
You do this?
Oh
there's
no.
there's so many little strands of information you need to hang on to. So like helping yourself by like
Mm-hmm.
having like areas where you keep track of things, so you're not having to just rely on your fallible brain is good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do y'all do the thing where whenever you know you're not going to be able to take attendance because you just don't have time, you take a photo of the call chat before you dip? Do y'all do
That's
Yeah,
a
that?
really good
I
idea.
I screenshot
Yeah.
it. Yeah, take a
Yeah,
screenshot.
I
Yeah,
screenshot it if I know I won't have time, and then it's just like I go look at my phone later and I'm like, oh crap, I have 3 attendance photos I have to input, and then I sit
I
down and I do it.
I
literally
also have like
Okay.
I have scrap paper on my desk all the time. So I'll like look at the piece of paper and I just have like these scribbly notes of like, okay, the date. And then it's like, okay, for example, 6, Anna, Mishi, Jenny, toilet. Okay, they were there on the 29th. All right, they get the test score.
woo.
Yeah.
Woo! Yes.
But sometimes I can't even read my own writing. So I'm like, I'm just going to decipher what I wrote.
No, no, Felix. Oh my gosh.
I normally do it either at the start or end of practice, and I'm like, and then I say to my members, if I don't do it, remind me. But then they also forget, so you know.
Mhm.
But most of the time, I'm good about it. It's just this week I just did not do it.
Yeah.
Oops.
We all have those weeks.
Yeah.
You do.
What's that one? Mr. Worldwide. Believe me, been there, done that.
Done that. It's a new day.
Yeah.
Oh.
So good.
Like a little thing I want to add on about like how to build up your club to get people to like find out about you is like self promo, which can be like a little annoying, especially if you're like in 100 servers and you're going through each one and you're self promo, self promo, self promo. But there are people who find out about you that way. So my recommendation for self promo is try to send the self promo messages at different times of the day, like experiment with that. But also think about like if your practice times are usually, let's say, like 8 Eastern, try to self promo around that time too, because if people are looking at self promo channels around that time, they are likely available for practice and events at that time as well. Another thing too you want to think about is nobody's joining my open server. Maybe your self promo message is not eye catching enough. So how can you change it up? Like different fonts, using like different like italics, bold, like the superscript or the subscript where it's bigger or smaller. Can you add some little emojis? If you have any open events going on, include that link as well, because that will pop up as like a Discord like event card at the bottom of your promo message. And then look at other people's self promo messages and go like, hey, as I was scrolling, that caught my eye. Like that looked good, and I stopped and I looked at it. GIFs, yes. Some self promo channels won't let you use them. Some open servers are like, no GIFs. But yes, if you have the option to use GIF, if you have like a personalized GIF for your club, that's great as well. That's a great point, Anna. Thank you. So yeah, how can you make your self promo more interesting, more eye catching? Experiment with times of day as to when more people join. And then go, oh, like if I post at around 2 Eastern, that's when the most people join. So maybe you try to always post around that time in self promo.
I do want to add on. Sorry, go ahead. I do remember Beck, the owner of Emerald Hunters. Shout out to her. That she mentioned somewhere, I don't remember where, but it's always like important to have like for like bigger text, like paragraphs that you want to have it in normal font instead of like, I don't know, crazy font, because it would make it easier for everyone to read. So you want to make sure that it's still legible to a normal eye. So maybe stick more towards like fonts that still cater to your club. So maybe like, I don't know, like more like Times New Roman font or whatever. But they're still easily legible and like still eye catching. You can do that in other ways other than just fonts.
Yeah. And like too, you also have to consider some of the fancy fonts that you get from like Logo Jam or whatever those websites. They don't work properly on like Android, for example. It'll show up correctly on iOS, like your iPhone, but on Android phone, it's just box. Like it's not even a font anymore. It's just boxes. So yeah, it's better to stick to just the basic Discord font and then just change it with bolding, italicizing, superscript, subscript, and then use emojis. Another thing too with self promo is like think about what's the most important information you want people to know. Because if it's like a big block of text, people are like, oh, I don't want to read that. That's too much work. So like, what is the most important information about the club that you want people to know? Is there anything that you can like hook them with? Like, for example, this whole past week, whenever I self-promoted Crystal Pirates, at the top, I said, join us for the Crow's Nest. It's a podcast about club and team owning. And then I had the link to the event card. So I had that at the top because people might be interested and join just to know about that. So yeah, or maybe you can say applications are opening soon on this day. Da 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 da. And that's like your hook to get them to read the rest of your promo and maybe join your open server. So yeah, think of it as like you're writing a headline in newspaper. What is going to catch people's attention and get them to read the rest of the article?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That's a good way to put it.
I agree with all that. Especially like this is something I've been trying to do more, updating the self promo, like not just like the look of it, at the top, putting like apps are open. We're doing the crow's nest, like keeping that updated. And then also, if you forget to send the self promo, because usually there's like a timer thing in the bottom, like every 6 hours, every 2 hours. Set a timer on your phone. I've been doing that, so it'll just go off every 6 hours, and then I'll just self promo, and then I'll send another 6 hours, and then I'll promo before I go to bed, and then I just repeat it whenever I wake up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think I saw Light mention Light, who owns Bronze Butterflies. She self promos 3 times a day. I was like, that is commitment. That is like that's when she midday and then right before she goes to sleep.
I remember.
Like, wow. Commitment.
I used to do it.
Well, I guess that's why BB has such a pop in open server, because Light is on it with the self promo.
Dedication, man.
Yeah. All right. Do we have any further thoughts? We are like just at an hour time wise, I think.
So I am actually set, surprisingly.
Yeah, I'm good unless the chat has any questions.
Yeah, chatters.
Chat, are you satisfied again, Jenny?
Questions, comments, concerns about
Yeah.
about whatever we spoke about in the episode.
Or personal beef.
Oh,
feel free
claps.
to leave
I like this GIF.
Kitty
this
claps.
Is cute. All the cats.
My favorite.
Standing ovation. Standing ovation.
We have one from Anna. Wow.
Anna prima donna.
Got them Shrek ears. Everybody cheers.
Everybody
Better
cheers.
than Madonna.
Bigger star than Madonna.
Bow down, guys. Bow down.
I see Anna's typing. I had gnocchi and orange juice for dinner. I don't know about the orange juice, but
I don't know what gnocchi is.
But it's pasta with like potato in the middle. It's like a tortellini with potato in the center, kind of.
Huh.
Orange juice.
I can't comment because I don't know what it tastes like. So I don't know. It's
really good. It's really good. Usually they'll serve it with like a cream sauce. I've also seen like at an Italian restaurant they had like a ragu, so it was like a meat sauce with the gnocchi, and then they had like lots of Parmesan on top. Oh, I feel that, Anna. Orange juice when you're sick. For me, it's like I love grapefruit juice, so I'll like go to the corner store, get myself some grapefruit juice, and then like chicken noodle soup. I go back to my house. I'm like a little gremlin in front of the fireplace with my blanket, eating.
I'll just drink water. Have my ice cream ready.
Water. Ice cream when you're sick?
Water.
I don't know.
Yes!
Have it. Ice cream. Ice cream, man.
I don't know. I like eating warm foods when I'm sick. I don't know about cold foods.
I mean, that's what pasta's for. Pasta for everything, literally.
Yeah. All right. Well, if we don't have any further comments, questions, concerns, I think that's it for season 1, episode 1 of The Crow's Nest.
I'm clapping right now.
Yippee! Yeah, we don't have the soundboard in the stage, unfortunately. Otherwise, we would have all the sounds happening.
That really sucks.
The golf claps and the air horns. I can understand, though. Can you imagine how chaotic it would be if the soundboard was allowed?
Oh my god,
that would be a bad idea.
New Bugatti,
man,
and Barbie boots going at the same time.
Yeah.
Have our own soundboard.
Yeah.
Makers. Us.
Yeah, no, the other day, Torla convinced me to record some custom ones. Yes. So there's a soundboard in our closed server that goes, I'll do a reenactment.
I literally did that.
We be rootin', tootin', Barbie bootin'.
Barbie bootin'.
That's forever immortalized.
You want to talk about the other one too?
Well, there's a TikTok filter where you like try to say words, and if you say them right, you pass on to the next word. And there was words like tautology and like disassociation and narcissism or whatever. And then there was herb, and it didn't like the way I said herb, so I'm just going herb, and it's not passing through to the next word. So that's the soundboard as well now. Herb, yeah.
Oh, so good, I love it.
Yeah. Okay, well, if that's all Gucci from all of us, I think we'll finish here. Thank you so much for joining us, Kat. This was a lot of fun having you as our first official visiting Commodore. You were the Commodore Norrington to our Jack Sparrow. Thank you.
Thank you,
It
Kat.
was really fun.
Hey. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice yapping with other peeps, hearing their perspectives and
Yapping about
commiserating
clubs.
over things.
It's like
Yeah.
we have no life, but we do.
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Never sure.
All right. Well, have a lovely rest of your day, everybody.
Whoop, whoop.
Woo.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
That is without doubt the worst pirate I have ever seen.
Gentlemen, milady, you will always remember this as the day that you almost caught Captain Jack Sparrow.